Sheriffs in LA, Orange, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties all say their deputies won't be enforcing the lockdown. Now,
hello, I'm Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. We have all recently learned of the new regional approach to combating COVID-19 and the pending closure and stay-at-home orders from our governor. We were also told there was a potential he would be withholding federal and state funding from counties who did not enforce the orders. Ironically, it wasn't that long ago our same governor loudly and publicly argued how wrong it was for the President of the United States to withhold federal funding from states not complying with federal laws. The dictatorial attitude toward California residents while dining in luxury, traveling, keeping his business open, and sending his kids to in-person private schools is very telling about his attitude toward California residents, his feelings about the virus, and it is extremely hypocritical. These closures and stay-at-home orders are flat out ridiculous. The metrics used for closures are unbelievably faulty and are not representative of true numbers and are disastrous for Riverside County. When the medical field is so split about this virus, it might be time to employ a little common sense. Keeping money and support from our hospitals, who are struggling with normal, seasonal increases in patients, coupled with COVID-19 patients, is irresponsible. It appears part of the new goal is to shift attention away from his and others' personal behavior with a do as I say, not as I do attitude by turning public opinion against California sheriffs. He is expecting us to arrest anyone violating these orders, cite them and take their money, close their businesses, make them stay in their homes, and take away their civil liberties, or he will punish all of us. I believe that all jobs are essential to someone. Leaders do not threaten, attempt to intimidate, or cause fear. Bullies do. As has been our position from the beginning of this pandemic, the Sheriff's Department is asking and expecting Riverside County residents to act responsibly and do what they can to protect themselves and their family from contracting the virus. Wear your mask and practice social distancing. While the governor's office and the state has threatened action against violators, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department will not be blackmailed, bullied, or used as muscle against Riverside County residents in the enforcement of the governor's orders. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a safe and Happy New Year.
Hey, Tim Frisch with A Frisch Perspective here. That was Sheriff Bianco of Riverside County in California giving his view of Governor Newsom's shutdown and basically saying that he's not going to enforce that. He's one of other sheriffs in California that are saying the same thing. I read this here from the New York Post. LA sheriff says he won't enforce California's stay-at-home order December 4th, 2020. The article says deputies in Los Angeles County won't enforce Governor Gavin Newsom's new stay-at-home order and will instead focus on targeting super spreader events, a sheriff says. Sheriff Alex Villanueva said late Thursday that his department, which oversees 10 million residents, has concentrated on education and voluntary compliance since March regarding health orders pertaining to the COVID-19 pandemic. Moving forward, we will additionally be conducting targeted enforcement on super spreader events, Villanueva tweeted. But the county's top cop said his deputies won't descend on businesses if and when Newsom's new stay-at-home order announced Thursday is triggered in sections of California if the availability of intensive care beds falls below 15%. I want to stay away from businesses that are trying to comply the best they can, Villanueva told KTTV. They bent over backwards to modify their entire operation to conform to these current health orders, and then they have the rug yanked out from under them. That's a disservice. I don't want to make their lives any more miserable. The sheriff's comments came just hours after Newsom unveiled his latest plan, which takes effect Saturday to slash the alarming rise of coronavirus cases in California. I wanted to highlight this situation because I think it really adds to the conversation of what I've been talking about with the COVID-19 pandemic and the two views of the situation that we're facing. And on one hand, you have the government restrictions, and people say that we have to have all these restrictions. Others that are very wary of that and really buck against government restrictions. I've talked about John MacArthur and his view on this. So I call this the two views because you tend to see these two polarized views. But I really believe there's a third category of people, and a lot of people miss this. I think it comes out in what these sheriffs are saying. These are people that are not deniers. And to be honest, even John MacArthur, who I've talked about, is not a denier of the coronavirus. What you hear them saying is that while the coronavirus is a real thing and is a level of threat, we want to take precautions and be careful, but we want to do them in a voluntary, measured, and reasonable way. A way that really makes sense and again is science-based. I talked about that in my last video. Now to show, I think, that what these third category of people is saying is really resonating and actually makes a lot of sense, I think you can see it in the fact that these police, these departments, these sheriffs are actually backing up individuals and business owners who are not denying the coronavirus but think that the government restrictions are overprotective and overbearing. It's also been backed up by the courts in certain situations. So I think that really shows that this third category of people is onto something. So in this video, I just wanted to highlight this story and what's happening in California with these sheriffs, but really to make the point that there are people, I think, on a continuum, and you have people on both extremes. And I think we tend to paint each other in a corner and look at each other as on the extreme. But in reality, I just want to say there are a lot of people that do take the disease very seriously, but they want to take a common sense approach, and they want people to be able to make the best decisions for their own health. And I really hear that in what these sheriffs are saying. Same with some of the court decisions that have been made in California. And now even at the Supreme Court level, it seems that there's a shift happening. So I know that there are some people who are really scared of the coronavirus and that things are going to get out of control. I even hear that in the comments at times. But I do think that you see a balance coming out here that the government can take their restrictions too far, and that's been backed up by the courts, and it's also being backed up by what these sheriffs are saying. So that's the report I wanted to give and just share some of these thoughts with you. I'd like to hear what you think in the comments below. Just make sure you keep those comments constructive and helpful to conversation. But thank you as always for listening to what I have to say from A Frisch Perspective.